As you can see from the title of the video, we're looking at the absolute ludicrous amount of money that Call of Duty, or more precisely, Activision, dumps into their games. I'm sure some of you have seen this story about Call of Duty Cold War costing over $700 million to make, which is crazy because I feel like most players consider Cold War honestly mid in a lot of aspects. But $700 million to make Cold War or any Call of Duty game is insane. That's like huge movie level budgets in the game development space, which is crazy. Don't get me wrong, I know we've had even more expensive games, but those are exceptions like Genshin Impact costing around $900 million and Cyberpunk and Red Dead Redemption 2 costing at around $400 million each. Looking at a report from Polygon right here, it says that 3 Call of Duty games published between 2015 and 2020 cost almost $2 billion total in development costs, according to a court filing published in December. What is Call of Duty going to court for? But anyways, they reported that by the game file. The documents were filed as part of an ongoing 2024 lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. Okay, well, I guess that answers that question. So, in which families of victims killed and injured in, a school shooting. Whoa, that's wicked. Okay, we're not gonna get into all that right here. I read a little bit too far into this article. If you enjoy Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, GTA 6 news, and more, hit the subscribe button down below and help us get to our goal of 500 subscribers. And I really appreciate you guys, by the way, because we recently just hit 400 subscribers, so I really appreciate that. We're going to make 2025 our best year yet. If you don't mind, hit the like button, and let's get right back to the video. So yeah, $700 million for Cold War, and let's just talk about that for a minute, because Call of Duty Cold War, I think personally that it was a good game. I had it on Xbox One and I also had it on PlayStation, obviously, because I play on PlayStation majority of the time. And honestly, I mean, zombies was the rough part about that game to talk about, obviously, because they messed up a lot of things in zombies. And I'm glad, in Black Ops 6, we're going, back to round-based zombies, back to regular Easter eggs. It seems like, Easter egg quests. So I'm very thankful for that. Don't get me wrong. Cold War's multiplayer was pretty good, I guess. And honestly, the campaign was pretty fun. I think it's the closest thing maybe to Black Ops 2's campaign that we've got, and what I mean by that is the ability to make your own decisions during the story and affect the story's outcome. Obviously I think there was 3 or 4 different endings in Cold War, and there was a good ending and a bad ending, obviously. There was the one where you choose to nuke the world with the bad guys, and then there was the one where obviously the canon ending where you choose to stay with the good guys and help them prevent the world from being nuked. With all that being said, for Call of Duty Cold War, I don't really understand, even with all that, what makes it still $700 million. It doesn't seem like that game was worth that. It doesn't seem like it should have cost that much to make it. But anyways, so Activision apparently doesn't appear to be hurting from Call of Duty's massive budgets right now, either, because the company reported that it made $8.8 billion of the B in net revenue in 2021, which is just honestly crazy, and that's up from $8.09 billion back in 2020. That's just wild that they're making that much money. And the sad thing about it is, it says right here that the net amount of downloadable content and microtransactions sold during the period per Activision was reported at $5.1 billion of the B. That's crazy for microtransactions, guys. More than the $4.85 billion in 2020, which is that's wild. So the game itself sold $1 billion in copies in 2020, and then the other $4.85 billion was made up in microtransaction money, which is just absolutely crazy. I'm sure that, for one, it says right here that obviously they're losing money right now because as the budget for the games get even larger to try and produce a Call of Duty game, they're obviously making less if they're only selling around the same amount, so in a way, that's good, though. Activision needs to learn a lesson right now, and hopefully a lot of you guys aren't buying microtransactions right now, and we're actually teaching them a lesson right now, and not to mess with us. I feel like there's a boycott phase going on right now in the COD community, and I'll even admit that some of these skins look cool, but I'm not paying $10 for each skin pack. It doesn't make sense. This game's going to only be out for a year before the next Call of Duty game comes out, and these skins obviously don't transfer over, nor do I think that they should anyways, but still, you're not going to be able to use these skins for anything else on any other game or anything special in life, so don't waste your money on games like this. Just to give you guys an idea of how crazy that $700 million price point was for Call of Duty Cold War that we talked about earlier, Star Wars The Force Awakens officially holds the record with a net budget of $447 million to produce that film, which is honestly crazy, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and that's one of the worst Star Wars films there is, sadly. But honestly, that's also off Wikipedia as my source right there. So at this time and date, there could be even like a bigger movie that's made or cost more to make since then. So we talked about this last time too. So Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has been declining in player numbers for a while now, and they've even been like coming out with news reports up until yesterday about this problem right now. So it's a pretty, big issue right now in Call of Duty, and it saddens me to say that as of right now, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has lost 47% of its players on Steam in the first 2 months of launch, which is honestly crazy. I didn't think that it was going to be that significant, personally myself either. The player count has dropped below the previous games, even in MW3, which is probably creating a concern right now for Activision. I mean, if they wasn't concerned after MW3's very poor reception and, being the lowest rated COD ever, they should be concerned at this point, because like this should say something to them. And I don't think that people were quitting this game because it's worse than MW3 or anything like that, because you know me, I didn't buy MW3, I hate that game with a passion. But the thing is that I think the redeeming thing about this game is that it's good, but the problem with it is that they've not been giving players what they want, because the biggest issues that's contributing to players quitting the game right now is the issues with pay to win right now, microtransactions, matchmaking, maps, and more, like even more than that has led to player dissatisfaction right now. Because this is the first Call of Duty game that I think that I've pre-ordered in 5 years or more, and I mean I'm not completely satisfied with my purchase, but at the same time I don't regret it at the same time either. I think this game is worth it. I think it's a fun game. I think the game is pretty decent, but like I said, I think that the developers, Treyarch, needs to have more communication with fans right now. And I know that the reason that they aren't is probably because of Activision, and that's sad because, Treyarch should have full control of what they want to do and the way they want to communicate with the fans, but they just need to fix a lot of the problems in the game, a lot of the cheaters, a lot of the hackers, a lot of the pay-to-win stuff and microtransactions. We've been begging them to push back on the microtransactions for a long time, but I don't know. Until they see that it's not going to make them money anymore, they're not going to stop. That's why I tell all you guys, don't buy microtransactions and pretty much boycott the system. Because if we can show them that we don't want the microtransactions, eventually they'll stop. And heck, they might even go back to the old style of DLC they used to do back in the day, where you pay for a season pass and they give you like 4 map packs, with like 1 zombie map on top of that. I mean, and I would be fine with that. I would be completely fine if we went back to that kind of method. Yeah, the Black Cell Battle Pass is another good example of that too. Like, Call of Duty just couldn't be happy with the regular Battle Pass that people was already paying. They had to add a more expensive option in, which has made me mad to this day. Like, I've never got a Black Cell Battle Pass or Call of Duty Battle Pass for that matter. I don't respect it. I don't mess with that. But I will say this, on Season 2, Season 2 arrives on January the 28th, 2025, which is on a Tuesday, so the end of this month, and hopefully by then, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will have a fix at that point. This has been Cypher. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.